Howdy, hey folks, welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Word. Alright, how about this for a topic for this week? If you're looking for a great content person, keep an eye out for this one trait: curiosity. Okay, so why does curiosity matter to a great content person? No matter what type of writing you're doing, you need to understand the source material and the world around that source material. Take something like ChatGPT. You have a core technology that's gaining a lot of steam with companies and the media. Now, most folks might just stop at ChatGPT. They'll log in, come up with a few prompts, and that's about it. But what are the other effects of ChatGPT on work or society even? Are you spending enough time learning about that? Alongside this, you also have the entire ecosystem of generative AI technology. It's a very busy space that requires learning a fair amount of material to really start grasping a lot of the concepts. By their nature, your content folks are going to be researching information for pieces. Curiosity drives them to dig deeper to the next level. Armed with curiosity, content folks are going to learn more about these spaces. The end result of that is better client content. And speaking of generative AI, yes, the technology behind ChatGPT is going to get better. And we're already seeing steps happening with technology like AutoGPT, GoldGPT, other systems that can use this technology to accomplish greater outcomes. But an AI system can only emulate curiosity. It cannot truly understand curiosity. The ability to go and learn more and then generate new ideas from those learnings to put different pieces of the puzzle together is an innately human trait, at least for now. So if you're looking for writing that's going to separate itself from what ChatGPT and other technology like this can produce, at its core you need curiosity. And you're saying, hey, that's great, Alex, but how do I actually make this happen with my team? Well, if you're currently hiring for content folks, there are a few things you can do to look out for curiosity in the interview process. Ask the interviewee for a hot take on a current trend, like ChatGPT. Listen to their response and see what kinds of ideas they put together. Curiosity and creativity often go hand in hand, and that'll display itself in the interview process with these creative links between different ideas and concepts. Go beyond work. Ask about hobbies or interests. Again, listen to how they describe those hobbies and interests. Are they demonstrating they dig into these hobbies and learn more about them? That can indicate the candidate has a varied amount of interests, which often provides a deeper pool of information to derive new ideas from. It also displays their natural curiosity to go learn something more. In the work stuff, you can ask more about how they came up with creative solutions to solve problems at work. For instance, if they had a challenging piece they were working through with a subject matter expert, perhaps they took a creative or interesting direction in how they overcame that problem. Curiosity manifests itself in a lot of different ways, so it's really about paying attention to how the candidate is portraying their work, their interests outside of work, how they talk about it. Key in on those details of how they combine new ideas. That's a big telltale signal that someone is innately curious. Asking lots of questions during the interview process is also a dead giveaway, so pay attention to the kinds of questions they're asking too. If you've got someone asking beyond the typical what's a day in the life look like, or what's the next step in the process, you might have someone on your hands who is really curious about understanding the inner machinations of things. That ability will serve them well to execute awesome content for clients. Of course, curiosity is going to extend far past the interview process. So once you have folks on a team, or you've already built the team and you want to foster more curiosity, you've got ways to do that too. From the jump, you have to build a culture that encourages curiosity. You might be thinking, well, yeah, easier said than done. Even if your company as a whole isn't necessarily fostering that kind of culture, you can build one internally with your team and create a space for them to collaborate and think about curiosity through the lens of the work that they're doing. Part of that will come through rewarding opportunities for your people to be curious. For instance, if you have a person who found a couple cool new resources to help support a client's argument in a piece, thank them for it and call attention to the fact they took the extra time and energy to do this. It's pretty easy to get caught in the weeds of the work and forget to reward that kind of curiosity. So the leader paid close attention to how much you're supporting your team's ability and interest to be curious. Don't forget to celebrate some of the failures or not so cool paths either. That's also curiosity. It just may not always turn into a net positive direction for a particular project. Curiosity will lead to some wins. Curiosity will also lead to some losses. That's just part of the game. But as a leader, it's your job to build the field to allow that game to be played. If you're struggling to build this field or you're feeling pressure from other levels of management, There are a couple ways you can encourage curiosity without necessarily reinventing the wheel. Consider, for instance, starting, let's say, a book club. By that, I don't mean go out and buy a whole bunch of copies of Great Expectations. It means you as a manager identify a couple of good resources, some long articles, video, podcasts, things like that. Set a meeting on the calendar a couple of weeks out. Then give your team these pieces and time to engage with them. Like a book club, bring a few questions to that meeting and engage and facilitate conversation amongst your team members. You can ask basic questions like what the content's about, voice and tone, some pieces like that. You can also encourage them to go find other pieces of information and bring that to the meeting themselves. Questions around that can spur some kind of debate. So perhaps you picked an article that had a central argument. They're going to go out and find pieces to support or detract from that argument. Do this exercise a few times and that level of curiosity will start to build. Pretty soon your team members will go off and do this by themselves. Consider turning curiosity into a side project. Much like how Google used to have the 20% time, where employees were encouraged to work on side projects for about 20% of their overall time. This allowed Google employees to explore side projects that oftentimes became real projects that Google would work on. No doubt you've got something going on in your organization that would make for a really good side project. For instance, perhaps you need to understand more about how something like ChatGPT might influence the work you're doing. If you have a writer who's particularly technically inclined, that might be a good opportunity for them to go explore the functionality of those systems. This person could research more about how a system like ChatGPT could help influence something happening in your workflow process. Maybe GPT could help your team research faster, or it could help derive outlines for clients. Or perhaps there's some other piece you haven't even thought of yet that a technology like GPT could do. Give your person free rein, but set some milestones and goals, something light, to give them something to shoot for as they work on this side project. This is also where building that space for failure makes something like a side project okay. Even if the side project doesn't necessarily yield something of value for the overall team, you've built the space to allow them to be curious, and you can back up and support them when the next thing comes around. Another common source of information are problems, bugs, frustrations, the things that make your people pull their hair out. Dive into a few of those problems and see if something might be worthy of a side project, or perhaps a conglomerate of those. A good rule of thumb would be, if a project can be worked on a Friday afternoon for a couple of weeks, you probably got a good-sized project. Then see if someone wants to take it on from there. So there you have it, curiosity. Why it matters, how to spot in interviews, and how you can foster it amongst your team. Curiosity is a trait that will pay you and your people big dividends the more you invest in it. So hey, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon for the next Wednesday Word.